Welcome back to another episode of On a Mission. I'm your host, Dr. Wendy Norfleet with Norfleet Integrated Solutions, and it is my pleasure to have with me Bob Wiltfong, and he is the author of the BS Dictionary.
Right here. And you did a very good job of pronouncing my last name.
Oh, good.
That's a name I've been called Wolfman at points in my life, but Wiltfong it is. So
okay, so I did pronounce it right.
Yeah, you did well.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And in case you didn't see this, I just want to make sure that you see this. It is the BS Dictionary.
Yes.
And I love the name because
you.
Before I read the subheading to David,
yes.
We were all wondering, he specializes in BS.
Right, exactly.
So you do business speak, but it's not the BS we were thinking about.
Yes, exactly. The reason why the title works is because it has double meaning, BS standing for business speak, but also
what everyone else.
Right, what comes out of a backside of a bull.
Right.
Right.
So how did you get interested in business speak?
My wife is a businesswoman.
Okay.
And we both met in, my background is local TV news. That's where I started out of college. And she was also a TV news person. But she did the smart thing. She got out of TV news, got an MBA, while I pursued comedy and acting, this dream of comedy and acting. And so she settled into a corporate job. And one day at home, she got on a conference call. And it was on speaker, and she started using terms I'd never heard before in my life, like boil the ocean, blue sky, straw man, SWAT teams, you know. And when she got off the phone, I was like, what the hell did you just say? You know? And she explained it to me, and I wrote it down, because at the time I was a wannabe comedian in LA.
So you're going to use it, right?
Right, I was using it for material. And over the years, accrued a longer and longer list, and I won't bore you with all the details, but then started to mull over in my mind, I should turn this into a book and a dictionary, and that's what I did. It's about 300 terms that are business speak terms commonly used in the workplace and outside of the job as well. We define them all. My co-author and I researched all the origin. It's well researched. And then we also give you the BS definitions, which are the jokes of what it really means when you say it is what it is, for example. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is fascinating, first of all.
Cool.
And I wish I had had it when I started my career.
Yeah, I know.
I know when I first started in the business field, I did something very similar because depending on what industry, everyone has their own jargon.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it's almost like when you're a newbie, they don't take that into consideration.
Right,
so
you got to smile
take the time
and
to
nod.
explain it. Right, nod.
Yeah.
And then in the meantime, I had this notebook I would nowhere without.
Oh,
and
wow.
I was writing it down. And so I would go back later and say, you said this in a meeting. Can you tell me what that meant?
Oh, okay, cool.
And then I would just create it.
Yeah, this is pre-internet days, I would imagine.
It was internet, but it was more the beginning, where you had internet within your company, but not necessarily. People were just starting to get computers at home. That's when they were still like $3,000 or $4,000.
Yeah, I'm the same. We're of the same generation.
Yeah.
So the people coming up in business today have the access of Google searching.
That's it.
Their
They
phones.
Google everything.
Right. So under the table, they're going, "What the heck does EBITDA mean?"
Right.
You know, all that stuff.
I know. I was in a meeting and I asked a question, and it's quiet. And I'm a fairly good speaker. I usually know how to keep my audience engaged. And it was silent. I said, "Okay, did you hear me? Did I not pronounce it right?" Yeah. And they said, "Oh no, we're Googling to see what it means."
Oh, really? Wow, that's fascinating,
yes.
Isn't it? Yeah, there's this whole language, this whole lexicon of words that we use just in the business world that when we get home we don't use. Like scalable is something that's used all over the place in job. When's the last time you turned to your child or your spouse and said, "Is this scalable that we can get to this destination by that time?" And it's just this own unique world of language. So that's why I wrote the book.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
So obviously you've been very successful at it. I know you're a TEDx talker. Yeah. You've done some other things based on this book. You're actually an international speaker now, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So this kind of was your claim to fame, or even better than your being an anchor?
Yeah. Well, part of my professional background as an actor and comedian, I was an on-air correspondent at The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, which still opens doors for me.
Okay.
And I got plucked out of the blue by these people in Vienna, Austria, that were doing a TEDx talk, and that's what brought me to do the TEDx talk that went over well. So now they're bringing me out for another, a big HR summit that involves 3 different countries there.
Wow.
So I'm sort of like David Hasselhoff. If you remember him, he was very popular in Germany and kind of okay here.
Right. So you're there. You're way over there. You're like...
I'm becoming something over there. So it's weird.
Oh, that's funny. You have something over there, but you're like, okay, when you come back home,
this is Bob Wiltfong.
They make sure you stay humble, right?
Right, exactly. I think it's my last name. Over there, it's much easier. It's much more common, Wiltfong.
Okay.
With the German language, it feels like home. Here, it's like, what? Why is there an LT?
Massacre your name, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So after all this research, is there any advice you give people? I know we were at a different time.
Yeah.
Probably when you first started writing this.
Yes.
But even with where we are, what would you say to people that, about this business?
Well, there's 3 takeaways. This is what the TEDx talk was about. It's a serious kind of divergent storytelling of this lexicon we use. And the 3 takeaways I give to people are, be aware that BS, this business speak, is the language of elite people. The origin story is a lot of people that look like me, white guys. And so that informs this world. So you've got to know the good and the bad of it. If you want to play in the world of Elon Musk or Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos, you better learn their language, right? The other thing is, sometimes people lean on this language too much to say a lot of words but not meaning anything.
Or not say anything. Use a lot of words to kind of make sure that by the time you think of what the word means, you realize once they stop speaking, they really didn't say anything.
Right. And if you work long enough, you're around somebody who just uses all the hot words. Right. But you're just like, you didn't really say anything. Right. You aren't adding anything to this conversation. So the second takeaway of that TEDx talk was to use original language to communicate original ideas. Okay. Don't fall back on cliches. And then the final thing that I added, and this is maybe why it speaks to Austrian people so much, is that sometimes the definitions of BS are lost in translation. So for instance, as an American, we know what drinking the Kool-Aid means. Right? We have the context, we have the history. Kool-Aid we can grasp. In Vienna, it's like, I don't know what Kool-Aid is. I don't know the history of this phrase. A lot of Americans don't. But, and then once you understand it, you can have a full context of it. But the people who are, we're much more international in our business now. Right, and we have to be very conscious of that. I know I worked in the auto industry for a long time, and so one of the things that we did as we worked with other countries, we would come in and we do like a culture class. So we would, we worked do Mexico. We took a culture class because some of the words mean different things there. They have the same words, but they mean completely different. Yeah, and the intention you have in America doesn't match the intention in a different culture. And certain, like when we worked with a lot of Asian countries, certain colors we can't use in presentations. Interesting. Because they mean something different. Yeah. So it was really interesting. Yeah, to piggyback, that's a word that's in the BS dictionary is piggyback, because that's got a very interesting origin story. But part of my professional background now is a public speaker consultant. And something I've learned over the years in dealing with business people over in Asia, that there are pockets of the Asian culture that don't like eye contact. That is seen as, if you hold eye contact, it's disrespectful. It's very rude. In America, though, we are all about make eye contact if you mean something, right? Right. So that's something I've learned the hard way in teaching people. Well, I really appreciate you coming in and talking to me. Thank you. I hope everyone gets the BS Dictionary. Yes. And please join us again for On a Mission, and check out northfleetsolutions.com for this interview to learn more about Bob. And we'll see you next time on Buzz TV.